And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports. I am John. Along with me, as always, is Shawn. Shawn, we are 77 days away from NFL kickoff. Are you getting excited?
Yeah, I mean, coming up quick. I'm ready for it to be here already.
Yeah, so we wanted to do some. Shawn updated all the free agents, so we'll go over all of those. But then also, Shawn and I came up with our top 10 fantasy quarterback rankings. We'll share those with you tonight as well. Everybody that's coming in, thank you for being here. Make sure you hit that follow button. And thank you again to all those that go above and beyond and subscribe as well. So, Shawn, let me share the free agent news that you've been keeping us up to date on. These are still all the free agents, so let's look at the signings first. McKinnon signs with the Chiefs, and Rose with the Rams. I'm not too sure who Rose is, but
Yeah, I'm not either.
I know who McKinnon is. Any thoughts on those two guys?
McKinnon, I mean, he's more or less just a depth piece at this point in time. Not really gonna go out there and win the starting job unless everyone gets injured ahead of them, which I don't see it happening. For Rose, though, that's definitely just a piece on the bench, practice squad, probably when they need him, kind of thing.
Yeah, so let's keep looking here. Little Jordan Humphrey signs with the Patriots, Jake Kumaro with the Bills, and Aaron Parker with the Chiefs. Humphrey, I'd have to look him up. I thought he was with Denver for a little bit, and anything on those guys as well.
More or less just practice squad to me. I mean, I don't think there are anyone that's going to even make the team.
And then at that tight end, you got Devin Funchess. I believe he used to be a wide receiver and switched over.
Yep. He definitely did.
Go ahead. Go ahead. So I keep interrupting. Sorry.
I'm gonna smack you already. I'm gonna mute you.
That's all right. Go ahead.
Yeah, he swapped over from wide receiver to tight end. I guess maybe he feels like he can get the ball more often. I don't know. I don't see it working out in his favor, but you never know. And then obviously Pinky and Dylan. I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna really know who they are, but the guy in between there, Gronkowski, he's gonna come out of retirement in about 2 months. Once all the off-season training is done, he's able to come back. He doesn't have to do any weird videos again to send anybody working out on the same day, wearing 50 different pairs of clothing like he did 2 years ago, but he'll be back.
Yeah, and when I texted you that he announced his retirement, that was the first text you sent back, was that he'll be back. So
he'll be back.
We'll
he already said if Brady calls, he'll be back. Brady just has to make one phone call.
So we'll keep an eye on him as well. And then some of the offensive linemen here. I don't know about Beavers. Greg Van Roten was a Jet. He signs with the Bills. Williams and Harrison signed with the Patriots and Falcons. And Gabe Burkick for the Packers.
I wonder if he kicks.
No, I don't think he does. I think he's the long snapper.
Why else would his last name be Burkick?
I don't know. I'll look that up real quick to see.
I feel like he would have like ice cold kicking skills. Give him the chills and then kick the ball.
Oh my goodness!
Hey, I'm just stating the obvious here.
Why are you talking?
Do you want to get muted already?
No, we don't need mutes. I didn't turn bingo on this evening, so we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, any thoughts on the any other thoughts on the offensive side of the ball with the free agent signings?
No, I mean, the only really major one I think is obviously Gronkowski retiring again.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, there wasn't many offensive free agents getting signed compared to what the defense is.
Yeah, so let's look at the defense. Odenigbo signs with the Colts. Mincy with the Vikings. Do you know anything about Mincy?
I believe he was an ex-Denver Bronco.
Okay. Wyatt Ray with the Jags, Jalen Dalton, Falcons, and Stephen Means with the Ravens. Those names aren't familiar to me, so maybe just some camp bodies.
Yeah, it's exactly what I believe they are. They're just kind of practice squad. Maybe they can make the team based on an injury.
Yeah, so let's look at here the tackle position. Pinnell with the Bears, Justin Hamilton with the Commanders. That's still weird looking at that. Ogunjobi, I know the Jets wanted to get him. He ends up signing a 1-year deal with the Steelers, and Monet from the Seahawks. Any thoughts on these guys as well?
No, I mean the only major name I really see being anything concerning is Ogunjobi going with the Steelers. He's really the only one that really matters, I think, of those. Just because he's going to a defensive line that's already lethal, and he's only improving it better now.
Yeah, so at the linebacker position, we got Trayvon Howard with the Rams, Ben Neiman with the Cardinals, Dakota Allen with the Browns. Name is not familiar to me.
Yeah, I'm not really sure any of them either.
Yeah, at corner, we got Chris Jones with the Raiders, Josh Jackson with the Cardinals, Lamons with the Chiefs. You have him in red there. I believe that's red. Does that mean he re-signed?
Yeah, it's orange, but orange. You're colorblind now.
Maybe I am. It looks red on my screen.
It's orange, but no, he just re-signed with them.
Okay. Then we got Jason Stanley with the Bears, Pernell Motley with the Browns, and Jimmy Moreland with the Eagles. A lot of these guys are probably just camp bodies, but then Minkah Fitzpatrick re-signed with the Steelers, gets an extension there. Nice move on the Steelers. They hired their new GM, and his first move is to give Fitzpatrick a new deal. Willis retired. His name is not too familiar to me.
He was on the Colts, and he actually retired. He's only played in the league 3 years. He retired, I think, to go back to be a lawyer or something. He actually went back to school he's going back to school to further his career. So it shows that even people that make the NFL, they might not make a career out of what they thought it was. So, I mean, at least he's going to further his future.
So here else, man, excuse me. Roderick Teamer signs with the Raiders, and then Jaquiski Tart was with the 49ers. The Eagles end up picking him up. He was a guy I was hoping the Jets would sign, so a nice step piece there for the Eagles. But Shawn, any thoughts on all the defensive players?
No, I mean, you're starting to finally see them fall into place. So, I mean, from here, hopefully the bigger name guys start to get signings. I mean, obviously, all these signings that are happening, you're seeing them be 1-year deal. There's no multi-year deals happening because you're now going next week's into July already. Training camps are starting. Like, you're not going to go get a 3-4 year deal now.
Mm-hmm. So let's look at some of the guys that are still available. Once again, thank you for keeping up to date on all this stuff. Some quarterbacks. The only guy that might still end up with a starting job, depending on injuries, would be Cam Newton. In my eyes, anybody else would be a backup or a practice squad kind of player. But any thoughts on the remaining quarterbacks?
Cam Newton really is the only one I can see even getting a consideration as a starting job. He's more or less just bench material from there down.
Yeah, so let's keep looking here. On halfback, running back spot. Unfortunately, Cohen got the injury there. But once again, just anybody sticking out to you that you're surprised isn't signed somewhere.
David Johnson and Latavius Murray, truthfully. I think both of them could honestly be a starter on the right team or a good backup to have, a good depth piece to have. Besides that, I don't really see anyone else on the list that could be anywhere being a starter or a backup other than those two. Cohen would have been a good return man, but obviously his injury plague has been catching up to him. But if it's proven anything, with the Golden State Warriors being my team, Klay Thompson tore 2 ACLs in 2 years, and you won a title. So maybe Cohen's got that going his way.
Yeah. So let's look. Fullback, Penny. I'm not too familiar with him, but still some definitely wide receiver. Still some good players still available. Julio Jones, T.Y. Hilton, Cole Beasley. I know. Well, his stance used to be that he wasn't going to get vaccinated. I don't know if that's what's keeping teams away.
Yeah, I believe that really is the reasoning why he is not getting signed.
Got you. Deshaun Jackson, definitely. I know Odell's going to miss like half the year, but I'm surprised the team didn't pick him up so he can get the playbook. Just start learning the playbook and stuff like that. Any other guys at the wide receiver position that stick out to you?
Honestly, that whole pretty much half that first column definitely stands out to me. Julio, Fuller, Hilton mainly, but Sanders and Jackson and Beckham are definitely good pieces to have. Even a Westbrook and even Chester Rogers there could be a good depth piece to have as like the 4 or 5 receiver role, just because they get the job done if they were to have to step into a certain role.
Right. Let's look at the tight end position. Some big names, but definitely guys that are at the end of their career here. Jimmy Graham, Ebron, Rudolph. Jarwin kind of fell off in Dallas, and now he's a free agent. But yeah, Jesse James. Definitely Chris Herndon, a guy that the Vikings traded for from the Jets, and he ends up being a free agent now.
Yeah, we don't want to. I don't want to talk about that.
But which name sticks out to you the most that's still not signed?
Honestly, Jimmy Graham is the only one that really stands out to me on that list, just because the rest of them are all going to be probably to back up the third tight end on a select team.
So let's look at the offensive line position. Definitely some big names still available. Solder, Balaga, Fisher, Riley Reef, Brandon Shell at the tackle position. Eric Flowers, Duvernay Tardif, Incognito, still available at the guard position. And Shredder. Shredder's the big name to me that's still available at the center position. But any thoughts on the offensive line?
Yeah, honestly, there's 15 to 20 names there that could be a starter on a select team. Treader being the main one, Duvernay, Tardif, and Soldier at each position. Those are each of the main ones that I see being an awkward, why are they still free agent kind of thing. JC Treader is the president of the Players Committee, and he's not even on the team now. So he's going to lose that role, obviously. But I just don't see why none of these guys are signing. But maybe once the first name starts falling off the board, maybe they'll start falling into place.
Yeah, so let's treat this out. Saying that we are live. So whoever's here, thank you for being here. Make sure you hit that follow button as well. Shawn and I live stream every Thursday at 7. I was running a couple minutes late tonight, so sorry about that. But then Sundays at noon. We stuck with those times because it's an hour before kickoff during the NFL season. So Shawn can give his I can give the projections. Shawn can give his final injury reports. But Shawn, let's look at the defensive guys. But before we do that, anything on the special teams guys? A couple guys got released, and you have a guy highlighted here in blue. What's that?
The blue highlight is they're on the physically unable to perform list. So pretty much probably the year, probably either they got injured or something happened, but they're on that list that they can't perform.
Gotcha. So let's switch over to defense. Definitely some defensive ends. An edge rusher still available. JPP still available. Justin Houston, Ryan Kerrigan. Definitely guys at the end of their career. But yeah, surprising to you, who's not signed?
JPP, Dunlap, Wolf getting released is definitely a shock. Everson Griffin, even a Trey Flowers, and is definitely a shock at the defensive end position. And then you look over at the defensive tackle, you got Goldman, Sue, Williams, Richardson, McCoy, Shelton, Peters. I mean, there's so many names there that were on great defenses over the years that if they're on the right team could honestly be a really good piece to a select team and then just fill in roles as step in roles. I know that JPP came out saying he is not going to resign with the Bucks. So from there, where does he really go? What team really gives him an option with the fact that he has his injured hand and everything? So what team really is going to step up and say, we want him to be there?
But yeah, the defensive tackle position, once again, Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph, Sheldon Richardson, Steve McClendon, great run stuffer for defense needs a run guy. Once again, Shawn, thoughts on some of the bigger name guys still available?
Yeah, I think it comes into once one comes into play, they all come into play, and they're all going to start falling into place. Honestly, from there, I just think it takes one to start signing to go from there.
So let's look linebackers as well. Big names. Anthony Barr. He was a free agent with the Vikings. They don't want to bring him back.
No, no, he is injury prone, too old now to want to bring back, and yeah, we have better linebackers that we've gotten in the offseason, honestly, that I would rather have than having Anthony Barr back again.
Gotcha. But yeah, let's look at some of the names. Hightower, Hitchens, Trevathan. Looking. Quan Alexander still available. I know he was talking to the Jets. I don't know whatever happened with that. Alec Ogletree, Jamie Collins. So definitely guys that can still play. But once again, guys that Shawn keeps saying are going to have to take 1-year deals and hope for bigger contracts after this season.
Yeah, it's pretty much all they're going to be at this point because you're waiting too long to be able to go out there and have I had a great year kind of contract or something. Like at most, you might even have some of these players might just get an option to be on a team for the second year as like an extra pay. But most likely, most of them are just going to sign a 1-year deal, and that's going to be it.
So cornerback position, we got Trey Waynes, Joe Hayden, Chris Harris, Janoris Jenkins, Kevin King, Xavier Rhodes. Rhodes with the Vikings at one point?
Yes, he was to start his career, and he would get railroaded by every wide receiver, and then they got rid of him, and now he became a shutdown wide receiver. So I don't really know.
Let's look here. AJ Bouye, Josh Norman, Jason McCourty. Man, definitely some guys that can still play. Safety position, Landon Collins, Gibson.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of names there that could definitely be a good piece on a good team. It just comes down to is what kind of contract are they willing to take at the end of the day, and I think that's where it comes down to is you're gonna have to take a lower contract waiting this long now, knowing that if a team's waited this long to want to sign you, clearly there's a reason to it, or that you just wanted too much money.
Right. So, Shawn, once again, thank you for keeping an eye on all the rumors and all the signings and releases. Man, I mean, look at these names. I don't know how you keep up to date with all the names. Like some of these guys I never even heard of. But man, so thank you for doing that again.
Of course, no problem.
77 days, man. That's 11 weeks, so it's coming quick. Fantasy football season will start ramping up probably at earliest once training camp starts. But yeah, unless guys are in a dynasty league, they probably won't be doing too much in like redraft leagues and stuff like that.
Yeah, honestly, I think that once it gets closer to mid-July, end of July is when people start taking fantasy more realistic.
Yeah, so let's speaking of fantasy, let's wait for some more people to get in here. I'm sending a message to you, Shawn. The last couple of drafts we've done, we've actually gotten some decent grades here. B plus and a B minus. The A plus there on the list is when we took every player they recommended with the highest percentage.
Yeah, we're never doing that again because that was horrible.
That was
I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, that was a horrible team. So let's see. We've been doing 2022 season PPR. We've been sticking with 10-team leagues, and then we just hit random. So you don't want to keep doing 10-team leagues?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
For those guys that are here, NBA draft is tonight. Shawn, does your Golden State Warriors have any draft picks tonight?
Yeah, we have pick 28. So the third to last pick, we have because they actually go off of the regular season standings, not the who wins the championship. So, like, the worst team that made the playoffs could win a championship, and they could have a better draft pick than people that got knocked out in the first round.
Got you. So it's not like the NFL where the further you go in the playoffs, the worse your draft pick is.
Yeah, which is odd.
Yeah, that is kind of odd to me. My OKC Thunder have picked 2 and 12 tonight. I believe they had.
I thought you were gonna say pick 1 through 13 because they have like 13.
That's funny. They did have a third. I think we had 30, and we ended up trading it away. So I'm excited. A couple guys I want there at the number 2 pick, so I won't be disappointed unless they completely go off the radar and take the guy I don't want. But
they're gonna trade it away.
Well, there is a rumor that who's got number 1, Orlando?
Yeah.
There's a rumor that Orlando's trading out.
I can see it.
So because some of the teams want to jump ahead of OKC to get somebody. So we'll see. You just want to
find out.
Yep, we will find out. We just want to randomize this again.
Always random makes it more fun.
Number 8, so that's a little worse than last time. So we'll take that.
That's all right. We'll make it a C- team.
Yep. So start your draft. Let's keep looking at this. So let's see who came off the board. Man, McCaffrey goes number 1, which I still don't understand. Taylor number 2, Cup 3, Henry. I could see Cup going before Henry. Justin Jefferson at 5, Najee Harris at 6, Eckler at 7. So Shawn, if that's how the first draft is falling and you're at pick 8, who you taking at pick 8?
I'm just gonna have to go with Dalvin Cook, honestly, just because of him being best available at the time, and with the running backs that come off the board. Honestly, I'm shocked that Harris and Eckler came off the board that late, especially with 2 wide receivers in the top 5. That's honestly a shock to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with that being said, I think Dalvin Cook is definitely the safe bet to go.
So let's go Dalvin Cook. Man, let's look at the rest of the first round there. Kamara, I don't know what they're basing their rankings on. Kamara is not worth a top, especially a first round. I wouldn't even take him in the first 2 or 3 rounds.
I guess they're basing it on him not getting suspended. So maybe. We should draft Ray Rice.
Chase goes number 10. Adams at in the first pick in the second round. Elliott at 2. That puts us on the clock. So we going back to back, or are we going tight end, wide receiver? What are you thinking?
We're gonna have to go tight end here just because Travis Kelce's on the board. He's not gonna be available in 15 picks when we're up again. So you have to go with him here now.
And I think he'll have. I mean, he's had a great career in Kansas City. He'll probably have even a bigger role now that Hill's in Miami, and some question marks for Kansas City at the wide receiver position. So let's go Kelce there. So picking us to round 3, pick 8, and we got Cook and Kelce so far. So where are you leaning here? I think if you're going here with the guys are suggestion, I think I know who you're taking. But what say you?
Honestly, with me being here, I'm gonna go with the third guy down there, AJ Brown.
Wow, actually that surprises me.
I think he's gonna have a breakout year, being that he is finally moved out of Tennessee, and I think him and Jalen Hurts are gonna have a good connection. Honestly.
Okay. Let's see here. Before we pick that, let's see here. I just wanted to see something. Okay. You go wide receiver.
Yeah, just because we need that position. And look at that. We didn't take Mike Evans, and he's still available.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what that means? That's our calling card. We got to go Mike Evans now.
Yeah. A guy you pass on the previous round, and he's still there at the next pick.
The fact that DeAndre Hopkins is taken in the 4th round for missing the first pretty much a third of the season, because a third of the season, but you're missing half of your fantasy season alone. So it's shocking to see that.
Yeah, agreed. So Oh, so you were going Evans here, you said, right?
Yeah, definitely go with Mike Evans here. You can't go wrong with having him.
I'm just looking to see. Allen has come off the board. Would there be any temptation to take Herbert here in the fourth?
Nah, way too early for me. Just because of there's a lot of quarterbacks that are good enough that you could take off the board later.
Gotcha. So let's go Evans here. I'm liking this team as well. He was ranked 23rd. We got him at 33. That should help with our grade at the end.
Yeah, it's still gonna make us a C.
Here in the fifth round, I think I know which direction you go here. But what say you? So now this isn't a real league, so it's not going to be an issue. But week 7's looking like a problem for us already.
Nah, I'm all right with that. It's not a big deal to me just because when we start drafting our bench pieces and all that, we'll definitely draft to have a backup that would fill in that role, and then you don't have to really worry about that role being an issue. But here, he's still available, so I'm going to go with him. Is Justin Herbert. We're going to get him on the board now, and we're going to draft him.
I was actually shocked. I thought you were going to either go with ETN or Dobbins here.
Nah, I just think because they're both be available in 5 picks, so I'm
Okay.
taking that risk knowing that they're going to be available yet.
Gotcha. So let's go Herbert here. Waller, more. Actually, neither one came off the board. So which way would you? I mean, we only have Cook so far at the running back position. So which way would you go?
Honestly, can we look at the running backs who are available?
Yep.
Can we scroll down a little there, see who's all available with that? Patterson's still down at 36th ranked is mind blowing for running backs.
So 78th overall, which is, I mean, we're only at pick 53 right now. So
yeah, so I'm not drafting him. Honestly, I'm gonna wait on a running back position just because of who's available yet later. He's available right here yet, and I'm honestly gonna take him now because he's not gonna be available later. And to have that wide receiver that I know is gonna always go out, he's gonna prove his every year. He proves that he's 1,000-yard receiver. Brandon Cooks right there on top. Even with a rookie quarterback last year, he still put up mind-blowing numbers. So I think, honestly, he does it again.
Yeah, I agree. I like that connection there with Davis Mills in Houston. I still have Houston being a bad team, but I do like some of the guys down there for fantasy options.
Absolutely, I do as well. And then with us being here, it's time that we're going to have to probably look at a running back position most likely. And he's available right there at the top. We're going to go with Elijah Mitchell just because he is in San Francisco. They do run the ball a pretty decent amount. So I think that, honestly, he's going to be able to get enough red zone touches that you're going to be able to get enough end zone touchdowns out of him to be able to make your numbers realistic and worth it. I mean, last year, him being a rookie, the numbers that he put up last year, and you think about it, he missed half a year with injuries. So I think, honestly, he's going to put up the great numbers, and he's going to probably be a top 10 running back by the end of the year.
Gotcha. So let's go there. Not a bad second running back. Over 54th overall, we got him at pick 68. So let's look here. Let's go to all, and let's actually look at our roster here. So we got our 2 running back spots filled up. Our definitely our wide receivers, our flex spot, and our starting tight end. So we can start building depth pieces here now.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm going to go with a backup tight end most likely here just because I want to get that off the board before it gets too late. Actually, it probably can wait a little bit because of who's available yet. I'm not going to go jumping the gun. So what kind of wide receivers are yet?
See, now you say that, and that's fine, but I think there's a drop off after Goddard.
Yeah, but we do have Travis Kelce, so he's only going to be missed 1 week.
That's true. Unless your league lets your flex spot be dual tight ends.
Absolutely.
But receiver, you said?
Yeah, honestly, here, if he's still available, I'm honestly going to grab him because I think he's going to have a breakout year. Is Rashad Bateman. I do think him being the new number 1 now in Baltimore, I think that him and Lamar are going to end up having a good connection, as long as Lamar gets his contract feud over with in Baltimore.
So let's look here. Let's take Bateman. He's ranked 92nd. We're taking him at 70 something.
That's all right. Can't wait too long on him.
Cordero Patterson just went.
That's all right, though, because you know why? We're going to draft a running back right there behind him. We're going to draft who I think is going to have a good year just because he had a good year last year. Depending on the league and how it runs, you can have it as if kick return and punt returns work and count towards points. He's a great guy to have. He's 31st ranked there. Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard.
Julio Jones got drafted. Wow.
Oh, man.
Wow. I don't even have any words.
That's funny.
All right. So here we'll go. I think we go with a backup tight end now. We get that out of the way.
And Goddard's still available.
He's still available, so you might as well just grab him now.
So I just want to see something on our roster.
Wow, someone drafted a Buffalo defense already.
Wow. That's early.
Interesting.
But Kelsey, I just wanted to make sure. I know it doesn't really matter because this is just a mock draft, but I was checking to see if Kelsey and Goddard had same bye week. So guys, make sure when you are doing your real leagues, make sure your backups aren't on the same bye week as your starters.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Let me get back to all. Go ahead.
Here, I'm gonna probably draft my backup quarterback just because I'm up in 5 picks again, so I have the time. I'm gonna draft my backup quarterback. Is gonna definitely be a good enough quarterback that he's not too bad and too much of a drop off to obviously who my starter is. Obviously, my starter being Justin Herbert. He's going to be in pretty much the whole year unless injury and his bye week. So that being said, I'm going to go with Matt Stafford as my backup.
And if that's the case, let's look. Let's look at our roster again.
If that's Beckham got drafted now.
If that's the case, depending on injuries, I mean, even after week 7, after week 8, because that's when we would need Stafford to fill in. You could actually, depending on what your league does, you could actually trade Stafford if a team needs a quarterback.
Absolutely, and that's how you got to look at it as.
Yeah.
Or you could trade him, earlier for a guy that may have had a bye week early, and then trade him and then just pick up free agency.
There you go. Because, like you said, it's only going to be for 1 week anyway, unless Herbert gets injured.
Listen, I usually go undefeated the other weeks, and I only lose on my bye weeks, so that's no big deal to me.
In the Dynasty League, that's all you had was 1 loss last year, right?
Yep, it was because all my guys were on 1 bye week.
Yep.
I had nobody to play. I had like 3 guys on a bye playing in my game. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So and I still almost won.
Almost. Let's build in a nice bench here. So we're round 12. We did see Buffalo came off the board. What's the earliest you take a defense here?
Honestly, we're up in 15 picks. I'm going to pick the defense now.
Okay.
I'm going to get that out of the way just because I don't want to wait too very long. Actually, there's still good enough defense. The average draft position is still 20 numbers away. I actually don't want to jump the gun now early just because then you are taking a risk on that defense having to be that good all year. So actually, let's go over to the wide receivers and let's see who is available yet.
I don't like New England wide receivers.
Yeah, I don't either, just because there's so many options that they have. They can always switch them out. I actually don't really like any of those. How about running backs? I actually like Melvin Gordon there just because of the red zone preference he can get. He's still available. He was 97. Obviously, we're not going to use him too very much. So the time that we do use him, I think it'll be good enough for our team. Obviously, he has a bye. Actually, you might want to pass on that just because he's on a bye week with our other 2 running backs. So that being said, actually, let's go with Michael Carter instead, just because he's still available and he's good enough that I think he'll be able to have a good enough year with Breece Hall and share in the backfield.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's definitely sharing the workload
Mm-hmm.
with the Jets there. Frank is a dark boy is here. Frank, let's see here. He says, "Hope you have a great stream. I'm still at work, but I'll be lurking. Thank you very much. Thanks for the lurk." He says Michael Carter as well. Affinity towards Jets players. Hey, there it goes. He's got the watch. I got the watch time working. So that's based off of when I started it though. So I forget. I didn't start it when we started the channel. So it's only been running for a couple weeks here. But Frank, thanks again
Gotcha.
for being here. Let's look. Let's give a shout out to Frank as a dark boy. He finished up playing. Oh, let me do it over on the. Let me do it over on the Twitch side because it's easier. He's really liking that pick. Do you? I think there's more. At first, I thought it was going to be 50-50 with Hall. I think it's going to be more 70-30. Hall getting the workload with Carter. So any concern there?
No, just because he's only going to be used during our bye week, pretty much, and by then we might even be able to pick somebody up that has a breakout season going on. So you just kind of are going to depend on how the season works out and who your team has and who's available yet to pick up.
Yeah. So let's look at our roster again as well. So definitely some good bench pieces
Mm-hmm.
uh, here. So let's see. We still needed. What do we got? 3 picks left.
Yeah, here I'm just going to go get my defense. I'm going to get it out of the way now, and my kicker.
Yeah. So let's look here. Rankings. So let's look at defense first. See who's still available. Just Buffalo's only been taken off the board, so all the other teams are still available, and all the
Yeah,
kickers are still there too. So
yeah.
who you taking?
I'm just going to go out of the way and get Tampa Bay's defense. I think they're going to put up a decent amount of numbers in the defense that they have, and with the division that they play in.
So let's look here. Tampa Bay. There. Let's see. I was looking to see a lot of defenses came off the board there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and here I'm gonna grab my not my running back, my kicker, and we're gonna go with Justin Tucker. We're gonna get the best kicker right off the bat.
So that gives us our last pick in round 15. So we could go anywhere here for depth. Probably don't need another quarterback unless we plan on trading
Yeah, I'm not.
one of the other
I wouldn't.
guys. But
I wouldn't do that. So honestly, that being said, I'm gonna go with the wide receiver spot just because he's available yet. And
wow,
that being said, Tyler Boyd's right there available.
love that man. Man, at 89, Shawn, we're getting better at this, bud.
Yeah, I think that team's a really good team. The only thing I'm not really a fan of is the fact that we have decent amount of players on like one select team. Where Baltimore,
Oh
we
yeah,
have we have what two Tampa Bay players. So it's like you got to watch because of the bye weeks when those start stacking up. When you have a decent amount on one team, because even Philly, we have 2 Philly players, two Baltimore, we have 2 Eagles. So you figure right there, 6 players that are going to share a bye.
right. So, but like any concern, like in the draft, we only took Tampa Bay and Tucker, one defense and one kicker. So buys, do you drop somebody else to pick up a backup for the bye week, or do you drop uh those 2 guys on their bye, hoping you can pick them up coming back off the bye?
It all depends on how they're playing out. If they're playing defenses are working out well, then I usually try to keep them. Or if it comes down to it, like right before the bye weeks, and I have somebody maybe on an IR available spot, I usually throw them on an IR, and I'll pick up my backup defense, and I'll kind of roll with what I have, knowing that I can have that backup available, ready to go.
So because it is getting to be fantasy football season, if anybody's still here and you see over in the chat, I do have it set up where I'll post a link so you guys can click on that. Make sure you bookmark that, and then it gives all the positions, quarterbacks. Actually, let me put it on the screen. If you click on that link in the chat, it takes you to this page. So bookmark this page, but then it'll take you to all the pages for our rankings and our projections. And it should stay open. Yeah. And for some reason, if like this now, for our Thursday stream, I made sure everybody was on the list. But if like during the week, if a player's missing, like if you log in one night and Brady's not there, it's because I'm doing some updates to Tampa Bay. So none of the Tampa Bay players will show
I
that.
gotcha.
And if that's the case, just send me a message either on anybody that's watching either on Twitch or Twitter, and I'll make sure I get those updates and get things back going so you can see the list. I got to make sure that they stay current more often, especially now that we're getting into the later in the off season here. Guys are definitely going to start thinking about fantasy football. Only 11 weeks away, Shawn.
Yeah, it's coming up quick.
Yeah, I know we started doing the countdown. We were at like day 98 or something, and here we
it
are.
Goes by quick.
Already at 77. So
before we know, we'll blink and it'll be time.
Yeah. So this stream we wanted to do our top 10. I know there's not too many here, but let's still do that, Shawn. I can cut this video up and share it on YouTube as well. So maybe we can get some views over there. But let me see if this works. Yeah, right. I just read your message. Let's see here. Let's see if this works. Oh, it changed our background. I didn't want to do that. That's okay, though. Let's put us back over here. And let me upload your... I don't want it to show... You'll see. You'll see what I'm doing. So I had us both make a list of who our top 10 quarterbacks were heading into the season, fantasy wise. I hope that's what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Let me add some more. 5 down to 1. No. It's not letting me do it, Shawn. Why not?
I don't know what you're doing.
Let's open those. I might have to switch this up a little bit. I'm going to let you go first, but let me show you this. Delete. Let's see here. Number 5, 4. I wanted to have this in place before.
You got to get it together.
Well, I had mine done. I did not have yours done beforehand. 2, 1. Do I have number 10? I do, so I can delete that one as well. Delete. So we wanted to give our top 10. I'm not going to put the list you sent me up on the screen, Shawn. But let me get back over to it so I can look at it as you're going through. All right. And you came up with which quarterback at number 10?
At my number 10, I actually went with Kirk Cousins. I do think that honestly, he's number 10 for sole purpose of he gets the yards that you need. He gets the completions. The only concern I ever had with him being as a quarterback is the turnover ratio, but he's actually turned that down a lot more with the interceptions. The fumbles is where it comes into play. And if your league honestly has that sacks kind of hurt you, if sacks hurt you in a league, then you're honestly going to be in very big much danger with Kirk Cousins, obviously at a quarterback. But I do think with the team that he has built around him with Thielen, Jefferson, and Cook, I do think that honestly he's built to have a great year this year in fantasy, and I think he's honestly going to be a breakout player.
And I kind of agree with you. I know when you sent me your list, I kind of gave you a hard time saying it was trash. But actually, I had Cousins at 11, so he just missed my top 10. But yeah, I agree with you with the weapons he has there and the year he had last year. I do like Cousins, but he just missed my top 10, which we'll get to after yours. But who did you have at number 9 and why?
At number 9, I actually have Derek Carr. The weapons, the team he has built around him, if he is honestly not in contention to be the division and to be in the division champs, honestly, at the end of the year, if that's not in a contention, then obviously A, he's doing something wrong, or B, somebody got injured in a key piece, but with Renfro, Adams, Jacobs, Waller, that's just the names that are coming to mind. I mean, there's still names that the wide receivers they have below them that could still definitely put the key pieces into play to definitely being a top 5 quarterback by the end of the year, honestly.
Yeah, so let's keep moving through your list here. Who did you have at number 8?
Number 8, I have Dak Prescott, but he could be that 8 to 10. He could even fall outside the top 10 just because he's very passer friendly, and that could definitely hurt him just because if he goes passer friendly and the turnovers are up, then when the turnovers get up, that means Dallas is trailing a lot, and that means he's obviously got to throw the ball a lot more. So it means that you're going to get your fantasy points on one way, but it's also hurting you because he's going to have the chance of more of a turnover ratio. But I think he'll have a decent enough year. Second year back from being injured, I think honestly he's only going to get stronger. But now he's got to get used to not having Amari Cooper on the field.
Right. Yep. I was gonna ask about Cooper there, but you covered it. So who do you have at number 7?
Number 7, I have Lamar Jackson. Just because he is Lamar, he's an MVP. He can run on his legs. He can do all that. He's obviously got to get used to not having Marquise Brown, but I think Bateman and Andrews are going to step up. Dobbins is going to be back, so I think that's going to help him a lot. And I think that honestly, he's going to still be able to put up the numbers he needs just because of the mobility and the rushing touchdowns he can get.
The only concern I had with Jackson was running quarterbacks don't last long in the NFL, unfortunately. So go ahead.
Yeah. The only thing I think he's only ever had really banged up was his ankle at this point, in his career.
So let's keep moving here.
At number 6, defending champ Matt Stafford. My only concern is that he's got to be able to bounce back and show that he was a Super Bowl champion for a reason. So I think that for that being said, he's going to be outside the top 5, but he's going to be inside the top 10 for sure, just because every year he's always put up those kind of numbers, even with the Detroit Lions. And that being said, he's a Super Bowl champion. And he's got the most weapons probably in the league on one team. You figure he's got Henderson and Akers at running back. He's got Cooper Kupp. He's got all the other depth pieces that he needs that he can throw to anybody and everybody. So I think for that being said, he'll always be inside the top 10 in any league.
I mean, they have Van Jefferson out. They signed Allen Robinson in the offseason. I know OBJ. Yeah. I know OBJ wants to stay there. So man,
it's what I mean. Like he's got so many pieces that he could be number 1.
Yeah. And who do you have at number 5?
I go to the other side of the football field there. We go with Justin Herbert. My only concern with him, you have to, at some point in time, you got to be able to dedicate your time. I mean, all these records he's been setting at the fastest pace of this, yardage, completions, touchdowns, etc. At some point in time, you got to put those behind you. You got to make the playoffs. Right. And that being said, this year is a make or break year. It's contract time. You got to come out and you got to put the numbers up. So I think this year, without a doubt, he's going to have to go and he's going to have to make the playoffs, because if he doesn't make the playoffs, it could honestly be a very bad year just because that means either they're getting beat up a lot, or in the end of the day, he just didn't perform enough.
Right. So yeah, all right, Herbert there. So who do you have at number 4?
The guy that just came out of retirement, Tom Brady. He was the biggest question mark for me, honestly. I didn't think he was going to make it that far, so I was he was between that 4 to 6 range for me, honestly. But he's Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do what he needs to do, and he'll do his checkdowns and still be able to put up enough yards and points to be able to get to what he needs for fantasy numbers and the touchdowns. So unless he has a big drop off, which is possible because he is getting up there in age and his team is kind of falling apart, but he'll call Rob Gronk out and they'll help out each other and they'll go on another playoff run.
And right now, I just looked it up. Brady, we have him projected in our fantasy projections at number 4, and he's still the 112th player drafted in fantasy leagues, and he's the number 4 quarterback.
Yeah, he's a steal.
Yep. So
with that many titles,
let's keep going. We have in our rankings, in our projections, we have 3 players ahead. Let's see how many of those. One of them did not make it. But let's keep moving here. Who do you have at number 3?
I have A-Rod, Aaron Rodgers, discount double check. At this point in time, he just lost his number 1. Mm-hmm. His number 1 is with my number 9 now in Derek Carr. So that being said, discount double check's got to go find a new guy. Allen Lazard is going to step up. He's going to be the new number 1 just because of him being with the team the longest now. I think that it's his team to run. And if he wants that big payday, he's going to have to make or break it. And I think if he wants to be a future Green Bay Packer for the rest of his career, this is the year he's going to have to do it now.
And there's still, I don't know if they're still in talks, but there was rumors that they were talking to the Jets about Denzel Mims. I think that would help. Mims does have some experience under him. Had a bad year last year in the new offense, but Mims got sick before the season started last year. So, but yeah, so that was your number 3. Who do you have at number 2 and why?
I have Patty Mahomes at number 2. Without Tyreek Hill, he's gonna have to step up now and lean on Travis Kelce, lean on Sky Moore, and Juju Smith. Marquez Valdez-Scantlin's there now too, and he still have McCole Hardman, who was a good threat to him have last year. So with that being said, I think honestly Patrick Mahomes is still going to put up the same amount of numbers as he did last year with Tyreek Hill. And he's going to have, I think, less turnovers because of the fact of Tyreek Hill having Butterfingers a lot last year.
Yeah. I like Mahomes as well. He'd be a guy I would take early. Not too early. Probably third round for me would be the earliest I would go for Mahomes. For any quarterback, really, depending on which one of these guys was available. So who did you have at number 1?
I go with Josh Allen for sure.
Yep.
Just because the guy is mobile. He is honestly, I think he makes Lamar Jackson look weak just because of the fact that he can run, he can hurdle, he can juke, he can stiff arm, throw the ball. He can throw dimes 90 yards down the field and be accurate. So with that being said, Lamar Jackson was on the scene 2 years ago and won an MVP. Josh Allen will win the MVP this year.
Josh Allen will. Oh, man, bold prediction from Shawn there. You're going out. Barring injury, of course. But yeah, all right. So your top 10, I do like them. I actually had Cousins and Carr as my 11 and 12. So they just missed my top 10. But yeah, I like that list. I'll share mine here in a second as well. If you had the choice of any of these guys to be your starting fantasy quarterback, no matter where in the draft you had to take a quarterback, is it Allen or do you prefer somebody else?
Honestly, I'm going Derek Carr.
Just because of the weapons that they have in Vegas?
Just because of the weapons and just because I'll be able to get him in a late draft deal, and I'm going to be able to get a lot of other players where people are going to draft in a quarterback early, and I'll be able to get other players that they're waiting on.
I agree as well. So I like your top 10, even though I gave you a hard time in the text. But yeah, I do like that. We do have a lot of guys, maybe not in the same spot, but definitely in the top 10 as well. So let me share my top 10. And actually, the guy I have at number 10 just barely made it. I almost didn't have him in the top 10. And at number 10 for me is Aaron Rodgers. Last year, we have him projected sixth. Last year, he finished sixth for fantasy quarterbacks. But like you said before, the question marks at that wide receiver group. Lazard, they drafted Christian Watson in the second round. But after that, I mean, you got Amari Rodgers, Randall Cobb, Sammy Watkins, Romeo Doubs, and
Sammy Watkins won't be there after week 1. We've had this conversation.
And tight end and Tunyon at tight end. I do not. I know they have good running backs. I do not like their wide receivers or tight end.
Discount double check. We'll always step up.
So, that's why I kept him in the top 10, just because Aaron Rodgers is a bad man, and you got to keep him there.
When someone pees off Aaron Rodgers, he does bad man numbers.
He does. So let's keep moving here. At number 9, I have Lamar Jackson at my number 9. Last year, he finished 15th for fantasy quarterbacks. But before he got injured, he was 7th in fantasy quarterback standings. And he missed week 11 and then 15, 16, 17, and 18.
You think about it. He doesn't miss those weeks. He's top 10 probably easily, right, without a doubt.
Agreed. And we have him projected 9th this year. But the question marks, he does have Andrews at tight end. But what's Bateman going to do? Duvernay, James Proch, I believe how you pronounce his name. They just drafted him and Jalen Moore. Some of those guys, I don't know about some of those guys. So big question marks there. Coming in at number 8 for me, I had Dak Prescott. He finished 7th last year. I have him projected 5th overall this year in quarterback standings. But after CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, there's quite a drop off at wide receiver. I know they have Dalton Schultz at tight end, and I like the fact that they drafted Jake Ferguson at tight end. But the wide receivers fall off after Gallup.
Yeah, but you also have, I believe, Cedric Wilson re-signed there. So I think, that being said, I think, honestly, he's a better replacement than Amari Cooper in my eyes.
Let me look. I thought Wilson signed somewhere else. So let me look. Because if that's the case, I agree with you. Wilson.
I believe he re-signed there.
Cedric Wilson signed with the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah. I guess I was way off.
Yeah, so let me get back to my list here. Coming in at number 7, I have Tom Brady at 7. Age, last year he finished 3rd. I actually have him projected 4th this year. But another thing, I mean, I know they have Evans, Godwin. They signed Gage from Atlanta. And as of right now, they lost Gronk and O.J. Howard at tight end. But they did draft Cade Otton in the 4th round of the draft. I did like Otton in the draft, so not a bad deal there. But question marks after the top 3 receivers, and still a question mark at tight end. Unless you said Gronk comes out of retirement, which you've been calling. Look at this guy. Harold York, golf for president. I don't know about this guy. Harold, thank you for being here. Shawn gave his top 10 fantasy quarterbacks. I'm going through mine now. So let me get back to my list. Coming in at number 6, I have Stafford at number 6. Last year he finished 5th, and I have him projected this year at 10. Kupp, his receivers are Kupp, Robinson, Van Jefferson, Tyler Higbee at tight end. Little question mark there. But definitely would get a big boost if OBJ signs back with the Rams. I mean, he's going to have a great year anyway, but it's just even more phenomenal if OBJ signs back with the Rams.
Yeah, well, no doubt. If OBJ resigns there, it's going to be a game changer for sure for the team. But even if he doesn't, I think they're still fine where they are. They could go out and sign Julio Jones tomorrow, and that team's even more lethal than it was before.
Yeah. So, man, yeah. I mean, I know Julio's had some injury concerns, but let's keep moving here. We are at the top of the hour. So let's look. Coming in at number 5, I have Joe Burrow. Last year he finished 8th. This year I have him projected 12th. But same thing. I mean, the top of that wide receiver combo, you got Chase, Higgins, Boyd. They did sign Hayden Hurst to be tight end, but they need an upgrade there. They let their guy go to the Jets. So that's the only question mark there. I know they have some good running backs as well. So any thoughts on Burrow at number 5, Shawn?
I think he was my number 11. Honestly, he was my outside looking in guy. I think just because I do think defenses are gonna follow, they're gonna follow Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase's rookie year is gonna have to be a little farther let down.
Mine are golf. If 1 is golf, 2 is golf, 3 is golf, 4 is golf, 5 is the golf stir, 6 golfy, the big G.
I'm like number 7 the most, the big G.
9 is Stafford and 10 is Mahomes. That's funny.
I'm liking the big G.
So let's keep moving. Actually, number 4 here. Any guesses who my number 4 is?
Patty Mahomes.
No. Kyler Murray.
Wrong.
I have Kyler Murray. He finished 10th last year. I have him projected 8th this year. And he finished 10th last year, and he missed weeks 9, 10, and 11. Now, I do know they have some question marks. Hopkins being suspended the first 6 weeks. But they did sign Brown from the Ravens. They have Rondale Moore, who was a rookie last year. A.J. Green re-signed there. Ertz had a breakout second half of the year. They did draft Trey McBride for tight end as well. I like that. And Connor had a little bit of a resurgence as well, especially in the touchdown department. So yeah. I have Murray 4th.
I think honestly, Kyler Murray is definitely going to be on the outside of the top 10 just because he's injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my only concern with him is because of the fact how easy he gets injured with him being as mobile as he is. But with top wide receivers 1 through 25, Claypool, end of story, without a doubt. I mean, the guy, he doesn't want to set himself short.
I mean, the guy's a superstar.
Yeah, he is an absolute all-star, Pro Bowler, probably going to be MVP and contender this year just because the numbers he's going to put up are going to be like 2,000 yards. He's going to break every record, receptions, touchdowns, yards. I mean, he might even break the record for Super Bowls in one season.
Super Bowls in one season. He said he was, what did he say? He was the top 5 wide receiver?
Top 3 wide receiver in the league.
And you sent me the stats and what he was the highest. He was like 41st in was his highest thing.
I gotta pull these stats because these are some mind blowing stats here. I mean, I don't really know.
So while you pull those up, let me keep giving my top 10 here.
He was 53rd in receptions, 35th in yards, 91st in touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns last year. I could go out there and get 2 touchdowns.
Well.
And he averaged 14.6 yards per game. Wow. That's
per game, not per catch, per game.
That's top 3 wide receiver right there. I don't know what I could say.
I don't know either. I don't.
That guy's they gotta lay off the water in Pittsburgh because
he said all Claypool needs is a quarterback like the Golfman to throw him the ball at Super Bowl. Here we come. Hey, you never know. I do like Claypool. Now I thought that was a dumb comment for him to make. I mean, you want confidence in yourself, but you got to be realistic as well.
You mean Clownpool?
Clownpool. So let's keep going through our list here. Coming down to my top 3. And at number 3, I have Patrick Mahomes from the Chiefs. They did trade Hill to Miami, so some question marks at the receiver position. How good is Juju Smith-Schuster going to be? I do like McCole Hardman. I think he could have a breakout year. They did sign MVS from Green Bay. And I do like the fact that they drafted Sky Moore. They do have Kelsey at tight end as well. And maybe some catches out of the backfield. They have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I know Ronald Jones was with Tampa Bay. I'm not sure how he is out of the backfield. So Mahomes, a little bit of a question mark for me at the wide receiver position, why I didn't have him in the top 2, but definitely still in the top 3 here.
You probably have Noodle Arm at number 1, I'm thinking.
Noodle Arm? Who's Noodle Arm?
Noodle Arm Tua.
No. Number 2, I have my guy Justin Herbert. Questionable for me. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, great duo, but a big drop off at the wide receiver position after those two guys. They do have Palmer, who I have projected to get about between 600 and 700 yards. Jalen Guyton, not too sure who that is. DeAndre Carter, Gerald Everett at tight end. The Eckler out of the backfield is going to help, but they could use a big upgrade on depth and at the tight end position overall. But Shawn, at number 1, I have Josh Allen as well from the Buffalo Bills. They have Diggs, Gabriel Davis. They signed Jamison Crowder, who's a good slot receiver, but he can't stay healthy. I do like Dawson Knox at tight end. And Allen's going to rush for at least 500 yards and 7 touchdowns as well. So he's going to get you a ton of points with his legs as well. So that's my top 10. Where am I wrong? And who doesn't belong in my top 10?
You're missing Jared Goff and Noodle Arm Tua. But no, I don't know. The only question mark I really have is Kyler Murray and Joe Burrow, obviously. And the fact you have Aaron Rodgers as 10th behind Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott. That's not my only thing. But hey, what are predictions for? What is our number 10, our top 10? Their top 10s always matter at the end of the year.
Right.
And the fact that we both have the MVP of the season at number 1.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna beat out Chase Claypool and Tua for MVP.
And Goff. Remember, Goff's going to be in there too.
And Goff, they're 4 candidates right there. 3 quarterbacks and one clown wide receiver.
Yep.
But no. Josh Allen, I think, is definitely going to have MVP season. I really do. I just think that he has a chip on his shoulder, and I think we're going to see that come out week 1.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if they'll beat the Rams. I expect that to be a high scoring game, actually. Even though Buffalo's got a great defense, I expect the Rams to put up points in that first game. But yeah,
the Bills are going to win that game. You know why?
No, why?
They're going 17-1 this year, or 16-1.
Who's their loss against?
Their loss is against Kansas City.
It'll be like 58-55 in overtime or something. So
hey, it's a loss though.
So yeah, that was our stream. We started a little late, so we ran a little late here. But Shawn, thanks for doing that as well. We'll do some more. We'll do the running backs and wide receivers as well. Maybe every Thursday we'll do our top 10s this way.
I think when it comes to the running backs and wide receivers, we're definitely going to see a big change in our top 10.
Yeah. So, man, is that true?
Yeah, it just happened.
And did Orlando take him or did?
Yeah.
Oh, man. What channel is it on?
ESPN, bud.
Yeah. So, all right. Once again, Shawn, thank you for being here. We live stream every Thursday at 7, Sundays at noon. Guys, we'll be back. Make sure you hit that follow button. Shawn, I'll talk to you afterwards, bud.
Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later and see you on Sunday. Have a great rest of your week.